It's not every day I'm going through the usual milieu of wrestling videos here on YouTube, and I see one with diarrhea in the title. Obviously, I'm going to be intrigued because yes, toilet humor and myself and toilet humor, we have a very tight bond. Uh but it's just not something that you see. And I've watched thousands of videos about professional wrestling. And yeah, sure, like WWE's done a lot of fart stuff and they've dropped poop poop on people and just endless fart jokes and Vince McMahon, he liked that kind of stuff, which is probably his only redeeming quality, by the way. Well, I came across a video called Diarrhea Dwayne and it was Wrestling Observer Live and they're talking about this promo that Seth Rollins cut. And I had to see it for myself because they were talking about it as if it was just one of the lamest things that's ever happened. But they weren't nearly as harsh about it as I think they should have been after I watched it. I watched this and I just felt so bad for everybody involved. Unless that was Seth Rollins' idea, I felt so sorry for him. That was weak. That was one of the worst promos I've ever seen in my entire life. Not for the delivery, not for the lack of charisma or anything like that, but just hear me out, okay? Like, okay, poop humor, a-okay by my standards, if of course there's a point. There's got to be a point in there. You can't just go out there and go, poop, haha, and then run away. You got to have some kind of point. The point in calling The Rock Diarrhea Dwayne was to say that he talked too much. I said he talked too much, which is what he does. You're making fun of a guy for doing what has made him famous and rich. Wow, that's cool. And in the process, you're calling him something that a third grader would call their least favorite teacher. Who wrote it? Why did they write it? Why did they think that this would be cool? Sure, the crowd chanted, "You got a nice diarrhea." I've never heard that one either, so it's a first, but still, we're talking about WWE fans. A lot of these fans are casual. A lot of these fans, they're not so much there to see wrestling, they're not there to see great storytelling, they're just there for the entertainment. And someone said diarrhea, ha ha ha, that's funny. So it's not that I'm calling WWE fans dumb. It's just they're different, and a lot of them. I'll just put it to you this way. I feel like if anybody in AEW would have come out to the ring and cut that lame and that crappy of a promo, especially one that was written and scripted by somebody, oh my god, we'd never be hearing the end of it. AEW would just be this. It'd just be another reason to call it the garbage company that's just so horrible and nobody there can cut a promo. Here's about AEW. Tony basically he'll give people ideas of what to say, but more often than not, wrestlers just go out there and cut their promos. They're not given like pages and pages of a script. They're encouraged to go out there and largely do their own thing, and they still. There are some people who can't do promos very well, and they may never do them very well. There are some people who have improved greatly, like Wardlow, for example. I never thought he would ever cut a good promo. So even with that latitude, I have never, to my recollection, heard anything as lame as the Diarrhea Dwayne promo. Not, and especially with so much on the line. This is the road to WrestleMania. This is your Super Bowl. And you send one of your top stars out there with Diarrhea Dwayne to make him look like a fucking nerd, a geek, as Brian Alvarez would say. Holy crap. Do they not know, like, unless this was the whole point and I'm missing something completely, do they not know that The Rock is going to come back a week from now or 2 weeks from now or whenever he decides to show up and do some wrestling or whatever? He's going to eviscerate Seth Rollins. He is going to make him cry with that Diarrhea Dwayne stuff. That's child's play for him. You just threw raw meat to a pack of rabid, starving wolves, and oh my god, I feel bad for Seth, especially if he didn't write this. I felt bad for Cody for not just faking his own death right in the middle of the promo and ending the whole thing. That's what I would have done. I would just go, oh. I mean, come on. For WWE, you want to talk, we're going to start talking about insensitivity? Oh, come on. No, we're not having that discussion. I felt that with all that's on the line, you're going into your Super Bowl. This is like the granddaddy of them all, you know, the vaunted road to WrestleMania, and you send one of your top guys out there with that garbage, with that dumpster sludge. Somebody was not. I mean, sure, the crowd did cheer for it, and they started a diarrhea chant. I understand that, but that was so lame. And I've been hearing WWE fans talk about AEW promos and people coming out there and cutting these lame promos. Oh, maybe if they were scripted, they would be better. I will take a boring Chris Benoit-esque promo from a guy who's making a good point every time over a guy who's being charismatic and maybe even a little bit flamboyant and is making 0 point, and on top of making 0 good, valid, salient points, is making himself sound like a fucking geek. The Rock knows he has diarrhea of the mouth. The character The Rock, of course, because that's his calling card. That's what he does. He talks. So you're making fun of a guy for talking, and that's what he does. That's why people love him. They're really not doing this heel Rock thing very well. Because I guess at this point in the game, with The Rock being this big of a movie star, no matter what he says or does, he's going to go out there and he's going to be cheered and he's going to be admired, even if he calls a crowd crackheads. I did see the one clip on Botchamania. I think it wasn't a botch, but it was just part of the show. He said like something about, now go home and smoke some crack. Just the delivery of that line. I don't remember The Rock delivering lines as a heel or as a babyface with that sort of conviction, that like just the way the line was delivered itself was funny and humorous and entertaining. Like everything The Rock does as a heel is so much better than anything he's ever done as a babyface. I never personally enjoyed his promos when he was a babyface. They were repetitive. It was the same thing regurgitated over and over again with flash and pizzazz and style, and but that's all it was flash and pizzazz and style, no substance. And something else you're going to find no substance in, unless it's actual diarrhea, is Diarrhea Dwayne. What were they thinking? So to recap, you're on the road to WrestleMania where stakes are much higher than, say, some show in the middle of August or September or whatever. The stakes are a lot higher. You send a guy out there, one of your top stars, to call them a very juvenile name. And not only that, but the name doesn't even really make them look bad, because when you say that Dwayne Johnson's got diarrhea of the mouth, you're just describing him. He takes his diarrhea of the mouth and he turns it from diarrhea into liquid gold. And I think at one point he said something about baby poop, and I'm just like, this, Jesus Christ. Yeah, we're still in the PG era, folks, I guess. But you would think that Seth Rollins would have more latitude to be a little more edgy, the way that The Rock gets that same latitude. Seth Rollins has got stroke. Why can't he go out there and cut a promo about people smoking crack? Just baby poop, diarrhea Dwayne. Anybody else find this as lame as I did? Am I overreacting? I didn't think that the people talking about this on Wrestling Observer Live were reacting nearly strongly enough. This was, especially given everything surrounding it, not just the promo itself, but the atmosphere and the time. This was horrible. This was hydroclo horrible, and it should never happen again. But it's WWE, and it will, obviously, of course. Let me know what you think of the promo, because I think that there's a small chance that I'm completely overreacting, but I don't even need anybody to tell me it was bad. It was bad, but I just, input and engagement and all that crap people talk about. Whatever. Have a good day, folks.